All right, so this next section is about communication. We've looked at the alpha, you're going to be the boss, the leader, and then we talked about boundaries. Dogs need to know what is allowed and what is not allowed. And the next part, of course, is communication. You need to tell your dog what is expected of him. It's very important that your dog realizes, I can do this, but I cannot do that. So obviously this is done through communication. Now it's not just telling your dog, there's a bit more to it, of course. Now there's a few things that you can do. Obviously voice commands will make your dog realize what they can do. You know, sit, you know, go to your bed, or that kind of stuff, or no. There's lots of different commands, of course. Then there's hand signals. It's me and my dog. Dakota knows when she's doing something that she's not supposed to do. All I have to do is raise my finger. She's like, oh, sorry. So there's a few, obviously there's lots of different commands and you can use them however you like, but obviously be consistent with your communication if you use hand signals so they know what's expected of them. There's touch. Loving communication can be touch. Treats can be part of a communication, and of course we have a clicker. Clickers can be used in communicating with your dog if they're doing something good. I have a different section that I will go over clicker training. Some people use it, some people don't, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong either way, and both are effective. It depends on which person you listen to as well, but I will cover both of these as well. So those are kind of the basic commands, the functions or the types of commands you can or communication you can have with your dog. It's important to realize that giving treats for rewarding them for the right behavior is nice for a few times, but don't make it the only type of communication you have with your dog. It's important that you talk to your dog. They like to listen to us. They follow our voice, our command. And it's good to have a bit of just having some fun and loving time with your dog. And sometimes it's disciplining, yes, of course. And that's where we kind of flow into the next section, which is about the tone of your voice. It's kind of interesting that I've seen a lot of people do this wrong or just not realizing they do this. You know, if your dog is asking for food at the table and people look at their dog and they're like, no, you can't have my food. You're going to get fat. Stuff like that. It's just, the dog is just hearing, of course you can have food. I love you. It's the tone of your voice that your dog doesn't understand what you actually say. They just hear the tone of your voice. So be short, because it's easier for them to realize what you mean by it, because over time they will recognize the sounds of it and they understand what it means. So no, sit is far more effective than saying, no, go sit down, sit, no, sit. To them, your tone of voice is positive and they think they're doing it right, so they keep doing it right. So it's kind of annoying, right? So you end up doing it over and over and your dog doesn't really get it, because it's, you know, that's why they kind of lose a bit of respect, because your tone of voice is not giving them the leadership. It doesn't give them any reason to have respect for you. So it's important that you show authority in your voice. And I know for some people it's a bit tougher. I know that. Some people find it difficult to show a bit of authority, and it's important that you learn this, because your dog needs to realize, even with your, maybe you have a softer voice and you find it difficult to show your emotions through being the boss, because maybe it's not part of your demeanor, but you have to, you know, tell your dog that they're allowed or not. And you can do it by very short commands that the dog knows that they cannot do it or they have to do something. It's important that the other things that I often see people do wrong, and I had to learn this the rough way myself as well, is that sometimes you're frustrated with your dog. Maybe you want them to come to you because they're running away from you and they're on the street, and you want your dog to come. And I often see or hear from people, you know, I try to get my dog to come, but it's so hard and he runs away and it makes me frustrated. So our response often is, Fluffy, get your butt over here. The response that we give to our dog is, if I come with that tone of voice, I know I get disciplined. So I'm going to run even further because I don't want to get caught and get punished or disciplined or whatever. So as frustrating as you can be potentially, take a breath and say, come on, Fluffy, come here. They instantly turn around and come. I've seen it many times that when you give them a positive, there's, oh, okay, this sounds like fun. So we'll come back. Rather than you're frustrated, get your butt here, you're frustrated, you're yelling at your dog because maybe they run across the street and there's cars coming, whatever it may be, and you're frustrated, you have to come, buddy, come. You have to do that kind of attitude and then reward them for coming. I know they were bad and you are super frustrated. I realize that happens, but unfortunately, you have to give them a bit of a reward for coming. Yes, they were bad. Now they came. They're good. It's okay. Then you just go on your way and cool yourself down, basically. This is something that is tough for a lot of people because you're frustrated. So it can be when they're barking at your neighbor's dog or something and you want them to stop it because it's frustrating. So you need to communicate with your dog. Hey, buddy, come over here. Play with your ball. Just to kind of distract them. And they often will stop and come and turn around and listen to you because, or if necessary, you can give them a treat for coming so they know that when they came, there was something positive. So, a lot of things obviously involved with communicating with your dog, but it's important that it's usually a positive thing. Yes, there are times where you need to discipline, but if it's a matter of getting your dog to come to you, it should always be a good thing. Because if coming to you and then they get disciplined and punished, then why would they bother coming? Because you're going to discipline them every time they come to you. So that's obviously something to keep in the back of your head. And again, praise your dog, lots of love. And again, I realize that for some people it's a little bit harder than others, but your dog needs lots of love and attention and positive, and talk to your dog. Scratch him helps really to just make their life enjoyable. The other thing I obviously need to mention is a lot of people like to give treats. Treats can help with training. Treats can be part of a daily thing, which is fine, but don't just, here's a treat, buddy, and you move on. It's in a way how you can compare it with a parent who comes home from work, spends a lot of time at work, has a couple of kids. Here, guys, this is a toy. I gotta go to my office again. Kids eventually don't really care anymore about the parent that does this. So there is some respect that is obviously lost here. So communicating by not just giving them treats, just positive attention, use your hands and touch. They love to be scratched and cuddled in a lot of cases. So use that as well as a form of communicating with your dog that you love them. And of course your voice, your nice positive voice with that. All right, so that's it for this video. We'll move on to the next one and we'll see you there.